All right, let's go. Welcome. Good evening, everybody. Happy Labor Day. Happy Monday. Good to be with you. Let's get started with this call today, guys. For those of you who are chiming in, I want to congratulate you. You're taking a step for your business. You're taking that action for your business to move it forward powerfully. Not a whole lot of people will show up on a Monday, man, to watch this. All right, but you did. All right, whether you're watching from YouTube or you're right here on the call with us live on the Zoom call, welcome. Good to be with you. Let's get this started, guys. Let's go. By the Books Consulting is the name of the company that is hosting this Monday live stream every week. My name is Cheston Bulgin, CFO, tax strategist, your accounting superhero. And you can reach us at 888-BOARD-4BTB now. That's 888-428-2669. You can also reach us on the web at youraccountingsuperhero.com. You can reach me via email, cheston@bythebooksconsultants.com or cbulgin@youraccountingsuperhero.com. All right, and we help out in the area of accounting, your QuickBooks online, your technology in that department, tax strategy, tax planning, tax compliance, and also fleet advisory and business advisory. Okay, those are the things that we do here at By the Books Consulting to help you accomplish a singular focus here, a singular outcome. Make more money, keep more money here in your pocket. That is what we are designed to do. That's what we're here for, to make sure that you, as a truck fleet owner, you have access to making more money, keeping more money in your pocket at the end of the day, and also freedom, wealth, and legacy. And you can do it in a way where you can have increased peace of mind, increased clarity, increased ease around what you do. All right. So that's what we do here, guys. That's what we do for you. And this is a part of that. This educational series that we continue to do every single week is a part of that, so that you have access to leveling up in your business, no matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you are just getting started. It doesn't matter if you've been in business for decades and you're looking to get to that next level of trucking in your business. Right? We have people of all sorts, like in all levels that we work with in the trucking industry, and everybody wants to get to that next level. Right? What's it going to take to get to that new breakthrough level inside of trucking that they are? Whether it's, I want to keep just a little bit more money in my pocket at the end of the day. We're doing so great. We're making a whole lot of revenue. But how is it that I can keep maybe an extra 2 to 3% of that revenue in my pocket at the end of the year? That will make a tremendous difference, right? So people will come to us and they're like that, or people are just really looking to get systems to put in their business so they know exactly what they're doing when they're doing it. And they're not taking a shot in the dark just by going out and doing what you do every day in trucking, right? You just have a clear path, a clear assignment. You know exactly what you're doing when you're doing it, and you know that that's delivering you results in your business. So that's what we're here for. And this conversation is a part of that. I'm excited to be here in this conversation with you today because we finished a series on systems in trucking, and we're stepping into this new series on financial literacy, business structure, keeping money in your pocket when it comes to tax strategy and tax planning, right? And making sure you're setting yourself up in a way where you're bulletproof, okay? You're bulletproof when it comes to asset protection, bulletproof when it comes to being able to keep more money in your pocket at the end of the day, okay? So I'm excited about being here with you in this conversation. This is the start of it. We're going to start with the foundation. Before we get into it, Truck Profit Academy, if you're not a part of this community yet, you want to be a part of this community as soon as possible, because come January 1st, it's not going to be free anymore. We're actually going to charge for this, okay? Right now, it's free, which is fantastic. You get to have content like this and more almost every day, right? And like throughout the week, we provide a lot of content in there, access to tools to help you as a fleet owner, one, stay motivated. Because sometimes you get into business and the circumstances, like the economy, the situation, the fires that you have to put out on a day-to-day basis, they could bring you down a little bit. Am I telling the truth or am I telling the truth? Okay. They could bring you down a little bit in what you do. And sometimes it takes this little extra push to let you know that you're still on the right track. You're on the right path. You're doing the right thing. Just take that one next action. Just keep one foot in front of the other. Keep it going. And all of a sudden, you'll have access to breakthrough results, even in areas in which you thought it were not possible for you, right? It was actually looking like the opposite. It's like not looking like you think it should look. And then you get access here in this community to that one next action, that motivation to keep going and moving forward. And all of a sudden, because you did that, you can live a life of no regret having the outcome in trucking that you desire. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so the next thing is, guys, let me complete on that loop. So in order to get access to the Truck Profit Academy, go to www.truckprofitacademy.com, get signed up there, right? So do that. You have up until December 31st, 2024 to get access for free. Let's go. Also, another thing that's available here that I want to point out is you get a free profit and cash flow analysis. And basically, this enables you to stop wasting time and increase profits and cash flow as soon as today. That is the promise, okay? Now, what we'll find a lot with people is that they don't know, like they'll have a blind spot, right? They're not really seeing the things clearly enough to understand what's impacting their trucking company to take them out. Like that's out of alignment with where they're headed inside of trucking. Like you want to get forward traction, you want to get improved results, you want to have more cash in the bank. And a lot of the times what we see is that there are blind spots that cause people to be out of alignment with those outcomes. So what this profit and cash flow analysis enables us to do is to see those things clearly. Oh, yeah, you're not getting enough load volume per week. Why? Oh, because you're not taking these actions here, right? It wants to be here and you're here, okay? Sometimes you just can't see it because you're too close to the situation and you don't think there are actions that you can take in terms of, different brokers and customers that you can take on that will allow you to get to those next levels. Right? You might not see that available. You might not see where you've been wasting time and effort, resources, money, all those things down the line. Right? But inside of this profit and cash flow analysis, we'll take a deep look at this and see where you are, see how you're performing, and then find that one thing. It could be the one thing, guys, the one thing that could shift everything inside of what you do. All right. So that's what that's designed to do. You can stop wasting time and increase profits and cash flow as soon as today. Quick disclaimer before we get started. In this conversation, the following is for educational purposes only and is not to be considered financial, accounting, or legal advice. Please consult your tax, accounting, and or legal professional for specific advice. All right, so let's go, guys. Let's be together in this conversation. So the thing that I want to bring to us here today, this conversation is about basic financials, understanding basic financial literacy. All right, so this is a groundwork. Why is this so important to understand basic financial literacy? I've done quite a few businesses in the past. And the thing that always intrigued me was that the numbers never lie. And the number story is always going to be that number story. It's clear. Like I can rest assured with if I understand the number story, if I can read that number story, I will have access to actions, specific actions that I can take to get to the levels in which I intend to get to. So if there's an outcome I'm looking to have in business, I can look at the number story and I can see exactly what's been happening up until now to give me access to new decisions that will help me get to those levels I want. Now, sometimes it could be a decision like, okay, we've been doing all this stuff in this area and it hasn't been delivering, right? It hasn't been delivering the outcome that we want in this area. So we need to stop doing this. Sometimes in life, it seems as though we want to hold on and keep doing things that do not serve us because we've been doing them for a while. We've invested a whole lot of time. We've invested a whole lot of effort into it. And we know that if we keep moving forward and we have this idea in the back of our mind that it's going to work, it's going to hit, right? But that idea that we have in our mind, it's in our head and it's not out here, then there's no clarity on what we are actually doing. Now, what the number story allows you and I to do is to get out of our head once and for all, like get out of our head first and foremost, put it out here in reality to see, okay, well, why am I thinking that this is going to work when it obviously is not doing the thing that causes it to work? Why would I continue to do this? Right? That would be the next best thing for us to have access to is the reality of the situation, right? To let us know that we either have been wasting time or we've actually been moving toward a desired outcome in as clear as day. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. This is super powerful inside of what we're talking about here because you and I can waste years, decades, a lifetime, not getting the outcomes we want because we are in our head and we're not out here in reality with things. Okay, so the number story provides that reality for you and I. Super fantastic in terms of being able to see clearly. Yeah, it's that song. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. You know, there are no more obstacles in my way. Gone are the clouds that have me blind. Now there's going to be a bright, 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 sunshiny day, right? That's what the number story actually gives us access to, that bright, shiny future that we get to live into, because we have, for the first time, for most of us, a lot of us in this call, like the first time you can have choice, real choice, because you can see it clearly. Now, what gets in the way of people seeing that clearly? The thing that gets in the way of people seeing that clearly is the inability to read the financial statements, not understanding the numbers, right? There's a lack of financial literacy. And time after time after time again, this is what I'll find with people that I come across, especially in the trucking industry. You'll go out there and you have like the basic of understanding, okay, I'm gonna make this much money for the load, right? And I think I have these costs for my fuel and my drivers. So I should make some money at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, I should make money based on this. Okay. Powerful to understand that, right? And it's really good to have that understanding in and of itself. And that's not enough. Okay. We want to have a real clear understanding of what really is moving results in your business or hindering results in your business. And the direct access to that, again, is the number story, basic financial literacy. Okay. Now we can get really complex in terms of financial literacy. It can get complex. And what I would like to do in this conversation is keep things simple for you, give you a foundation where you actually have access to tear away all that confusion and that angst and that, the anxiety around numbers, if that's you. Some of you guys in this conversation, there is an anxiety that you have around doing this aspect of your business and looking at the financial statements. There's a worry, there's a concern, right? And what I want you to have on the other side of this conversation is a peace. Sometimes this can be the first time in life you can have peace around this area because you have a grounded rooting and a foundation in the basics. And you can have high-level conversations just by understanding the basics, okay? Now, what are the basics of financial literacy? All right, first of all, there's a principle here. Principle, okay? Now, the principle is what I can measure, I can manage. What I can manage, I can master. I love logic like this, right? Principles that I can rely on. Oh, it makes sense. Now, what I can measure, I can manage. If I can measure it, I can manage it. Guess what? If I can manage it, then I can master it, right? Because it's something I can repeat over and over again. Get a practice at this. Like I can see it over and over every single day, every single moment. And now I get a real good understanding of what's happening. I can see now, right? I can see the flow of things. And there's a mastery available in that when it's consistent. Okay. And this is what we want. We want to understand this principle. What I can measure, I can manage. What I can manage, I can master. All right. So what are you measuring in your business? For what we found is that most people are not really keen to what it is that they're measuring on a day-to-day basis. And I love it. Personally, I love it when our clients and the people that we serve get this understanding and they start looking at what they're measuring in their business. And now we have these conversations that really enable us to stop all the wasted time in life, right? We stop all the wasted time and we go right at the thing, right? We go right at the things that are going to make the difference because we're looking at it like out here. When I say out here, it's like something that's measurable, something that's tangible. It's on paper, right? I can read it, or it's on a spreadsheet or something like that where I can read it and we know what's going on, clear as day, okay? Now, some of you may have like basics in terms of Excel spreadsheets that you've been using. Some of you have trucking management software that gives you some metrics that you can look at, which gives you a pretty good understanding of some things inside of your business, right? But get this, those companies that were able to get access to all of the things that were happening, like measuring every single aspect of the company, scientifically, really. It's just like a scientific approach to business, right? They're looking at, okay, well, this is a hypothesis. I think that we're actually, tracking to increase growth by 25% the next year, right? So they have this hypothesis, right? But then they go inside and prove it. And they look and measure everything so they can see what's happening in the business. They'll look at, revenue, which is what we're going to talk about in a little bit, like income, like the income of the business, what it costs to produce that directly, like direct costs. We're going to talk about that as well. Okay. And they'll look at their gross profit. Yes, that's one of those things that they'll look at. And they'll look at the operating expenses, right? Everything else outside of what we just talked about, and like what's outflowing in their business, and they'll have a bottom line, right? They'll have earnings, so we call net income, net earnings for their business, right? So to have that, and also, instead of just having that overview, which is like financial reporting, we're talking about financial reporting today, right? That's one of those things. All right. Instead of just having that, they'll have like we call it granularity. And basically what that means is that there are the details that they'll have access to because they're measuring every single thing. Like, okay, well, this driver, right? What have they really been doing? How much fuel are they actually using on this particular unit versus what has been used on this unit over time? Because maybe you swapped out drivers over time, but if you didn't measure it, you wouldn't even know the difference, right? It could be the increased cost of the unit, or it could be just the drivers in that unit that could be trained, and then you get to keep more money, right? Those are things that are available. Or, in terms of lanes, right? You're taking certain loads with certain brokers and you go in the same lane, same routes. You might have dedicated lanes, right? And well, how much is really costing to do that dedicated lane, right? Is it going through the mountains in West Virginia? Is it heavy? Is it causing more wear and tear in the truck? Right? We can measure that by how much maintenance is on those particular dedicated units and drivers that are moving that freight in that lane. Okay. Now, if you're not measuring those things, then you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know things. You wouldn't be able to make those shifts. You wouldn't okay, we might not want to do this dedicated lane to the degree that we've been doing it, and we can take actions today to shift that. Right. Otherwise, it could be the status quo, the same old thing. I've just been doing it for a while. Been doing this the whole time, and it seems to be working. But is it really? Is it really working? How much more can be available to you when you start measuring these things? Okay. So today's conversation, we're going to talk about the basics of financial literacy. We're going to start with financial statements, okay? Because there are two things, right? One thing I want to look at is we call financial accounting, right? It's like what we can measure. We call it accounting for things. Financial accounting, okay? That's number one. And that's number one. And then the other thing is, managerial accounting. We call this, all right, managerial accounting. I don't want this to confuse you in terms, okay? There are two things I want to separate this into, all right? We're going to talk about financial accounting today. And basically, financial accounting are like the financial statements that you can present to your lenders. You can present it to people who are really analyzing your business, like investors who want to invest in your business. You present this to your tax professional to do taxes. All right. This gives them a real good understanding of the overall financial health of the business and the financial performance of the business. All right. In a snapshot view with financial accounting. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about, let's see. Yeah, I did spell it right. Accounting. Let's get that capitalized A. All right. So we're going to talk about financial accounting today. Managerial accounting, just because it's up here, I will let you know that managerial accounting is the accounting that allows you to make decisions within your business, all right, internal decisions in your business. So we have people that we work with, right? And one of the things I look at is, well, how messy are their financial reports looking? Like for the financial accounting part of this, and the number one. When I say messy, they start adding things that really want to be on a managerial accounting report. Well, what's the difference? Well, you don't want your lenders and your tax people necessarily to see, okay, how many sales and units, how many sales did you make with, this particular type of truck, right? So yeah, maybe, or really like trailers, like that's what we want to use in this example. So if you're using like flatbed division, versus reefer division versus heavy haul versus dry van, right? We don't need to actually see all of those details on a financial accounting report. That would be on a managerial accounting report that we can pull up. We can track those details on other reports when we get down into the dirty details, baby. All right. The dirty details of managerial accounting. We can get into that in those types of reports so that you can make internal decisions. All right. And that's what the managerial accounting is for, internal decisions. Now, your financial accounting reports, we don't want those to get too messy. We want to keep those line items tight, right? We want to keep it clean, we want to keep it tight so that you want to get a snapshot. Well, how do we do? Really, really quick. I just want to see this. Boom, boom. Line items. Okay, now when I go down the line items, I can see what's really impacting. Okay, well, fuel costs are high. They're higher this year compared to last year. Why is that? The fuel prices go up overall. Maybe in the economy they went up overall, but if we find that the economy did not go up in that area, like fuel prices did not go up overall in general in the economy, and your fuel prices went up, well, there's something to look into. Okay, we know that there's something to look into there, right? Because there's some type of inefficiency that's going on in the operation, right? Now, your financial accounting will allow you to see that really quick. Okay, that there's okay, this is where I want to look at. Boom, this is a red flag. Let me look deeper, right? And the deeper would be in the managerial accounting reports. Okay, now we're going to talk about financial accounting. Okay, over the next few weeks, we're going to deep dive into like what it looks like to read numbers in financial accounting, and then we're going to look at what it looks like to read numbers in managerial accounting. Okay, and we're also going to look at what it looks like to understand taxes and the impact of that and how to keep more money in your pocket. All right. So it's going to be a great conversation to be in together. I'm hoping that you're going to be here with me to get like really dialed in these conversations. When I say be here with me, dialed in these conversations, because this will give you direct access to being able to make sound decisions that deliver fast and consistent, reliable results into your future. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Hope you're fired up about that. All right. So let's go. We're going to talk about some basics real quick. We're going to lay the foundation and we're going to wrap this up. Okay. So there are, 4 main reports here that we look at when we come into financial accounting. So let's come in financial accounting, okay? Financial accounting. There are 4 main reports that we have. So one is the income statement. This is also known as the profit and loss. You'll hear this, like banks will ask you for this, as well as the other thing. Okay. So you may have heard that a lot in terms of, what people request from you. If you're ever looking for financing, your lenders will say, let me see your profit and loss statement. They'll ask for this. All right. Your tax person will ask for this profit and loss statement. Okay. So financial report number 1, income statement. Basically, this shows the overall performance of your business. That's what it deals with, overall performance of your business. When you talk about, well, how much money did you bring in? And at the end of the day, how much of that money did you get to keep? Okay. In terms of profits, that's what that tells us. How much money you brought in and how much money did you get to keep at the end of the day? Right? How much, because there are expenses that go along with you bringing that money in. So how much did you get to keep actually? That's the income statement. That's the profit and loss statement. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2, balance sheet. So the balance sheet is a real simple formula. Looks like this: assets equal liabilities and equity. Okay. Simple formula. So what does that mean really? Well, assets are whatever holds value, like a dollar. It's worth $1. That's the value of it, right? You also have other things that hold value, like invoices. Like you invoice one of your customers. Let's say you drop a load off, you send an invoice out to them. They haven't paid you yet, but that's an asset. It's like, let's say you drop it off, $2,000, you get paid for that load. You haven't got paid yet. So it's an invoice that you have out there. That is also an asset, holds value, $2,000 worth of value. Then we have other things like equipment, like your tractor, right? Your unit, your tractor unit. You paid money for that, right? So that holds value. Also, like other equipment, like your trailer, right? And anything else, like land and property, and like real estate, holds value. Those are all assets. Anything that holds value is considered an asset. Okay. Now, liabilities are money that you owe to others, right? Any debt, that's a liability. Money that you owe to others. That's what that is. So it could be a credit card, could be a line of credit, could be a long-term loan, it could be a business loan, it could be a loan that you have for your truck, it could be what we call a capital lease. Maybe you're leasing a truck, right? So that would be considered a liability. You owe money to somebody else, either long-term or short-term. You owe that money to somebody else, okay? Now, equity is basically how much you have in the business yourself. How much you have in the business yourself. Well, what does that mean? Well, if the business makes money at the end of the day, like let's say that the business it runs and it makes profits, right? It has a plus number at the end of the day. After everything's all said and done, it makes money. Well, that money is considered that money that you have in the business now. Like you made money. So if at the end of the day, if you brought in $1 million this year in revenue, and then you were able to keep $100,000 of the revenue that you brought in, well, that $100,000 that you were able to keep is considered equity now. That those profits that you keep in the business, right? As long as you don't take it out of the business for yourself, it remains in the business. It's considered equity. Another example of that would be money that you put in business, like you invest that into the business yourself. Okay, so that's what that would mean. Money that you invest into the business yourself, that's also considered equity. Let's say that you start your business and you put all this money into it. You put money into it, you buy a truck, you buy a trailer, you get started in your business. Well, all the money that you put into that, let's say that was $100,000 that you had to spend for the tractor, the trailer, and then maybe another $20,000 that you put into a bank account. Well, now you have $120,000 that you personally put in that would add to the equity in your business. Okay, that's what that means. So at the end of the day, the value that you have in your business, it makes sense now, right? I want it to make sense because let's say you purchase, and we'll talk more about this in the upcoming weeks. Let's say you purchase a truck and a trailer out of your own pocket personally that you're going to use for the business. You contribute that to your business, $100,000 for equipment, right? And you have another $20,000 that you put in the bank for your business. So that's $120,000 of equity that you put in your business. Then you have the piece of equipment that's worth that much, right? Equipment's worth $100,000, and then you have inside the bank account, that's $20,000. Those are considered assets in your business. So the equity that you put in there, is the same amount of assets that you have in your business. That's why that formula works, okay? Assets equal liabilities and equity. It always works out that way, right? Because it's what you have in it. What you have in the business comes from it. What I like to say is that, your property and your money comes from someplace, and that's what that formula means to me. It comes from someplace. It comes from either liabilities or equity, right? That's where it came from. All right, so that's balance sheet, and again, we'll be talking more about this individually down the line. We'll be breaking this down for you in our series of calls, and we have the other thing that we have here is cash flow, right? Cash flow statement. Cash flow statement basically looks at the inflows and outflows of money, and we'll break it down into 3 different components, from operating, from investing, and from financing. Those are the 3 components of cash flow: investing, operating, investing, and financing, right? That's 1, 2, 3, operating, investing, and financing. And we'll break that down for you in terms of over the next coming weeks and what that means and what that looks like. And really what it tells us, well, is cash increasing or is it decreasing over the period, over the months and over the years, right? That's what that tells us. And it tells us why, right? What's really impacting that. The last thing, equity. Really, instead of this one, these are the statement of owner equity, statement of equity, we'll put that here. Not the most popular thing that I would look at inside of this, but it is one of the main financial statements that we want to put here because this is the foundation. These are the basics. This is your book, all right? This is your book of financial literacy when it comes to financial reporting and financial accounting, okay? Guys, that's what I want to leave you with. Understand these 4, okay? And we're going to break down these over the weeks. We're going to talk about income statements next week in detail. We're going to take a look at what that looks like on a basic level and a little bit more complex level. And we're going to move forward with each and every one of these so that you really get access to financial literacy. And with access to financial literacy, you have access to decisions. And with access to those decisions, you have access to improved results, right? More cash in the bank, right? That you get to keep month after month, year after year. That's what that delivers. All right, guys. Fantastic being with you on a holiday week, Monday, right? Labor Day Monday. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, you have a great week. Hopefully, you got some value from this call, man. I love being with you in this conversation. This is one of my favorite things to talk about is financial literacy, and we'll get into like the background and why it's so fantastic for me to talk about, and how I have a unique perspective on being able to read the numbers pretty clear and pretty clean and pretty effectively for people to make those choices. All right. But guys, have a great rest of your night and have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you on Monday.